Hello and welcome to Basic Spanish for OT, PT, and SLP clinicians. My name is Juanita and I am your host. I am an occupational therapy assistant as well as the author of this book, Basic Spanish for OT, PT, and SLP clinicians in the acute hospital setting. This book, as well as the ebook, can be purchased on Amazon.com. I will leave a link on the channel. On today's video, we will look at page 12 in the book. And this is probably one of those videos that I would think I'll encourage people to watch first because it's understanding the rules of language. And I'll probably do a 2 or 3 part series with this one. But it can be kind of frustrating learning a language as an adult because we are people that don't like to make mistakes. Humans generally don't want to make mistakes. And you feel almost childlike when you're an adult and you're learning a new language because you always want to revert back to your primary language, where if you're going to get better at a language, you have to keep practicing your target language, which means you're going to make mistakes. As I tell my patients all the time, you have to be willing to make a mistake. You have to be willing to fail in order to get better. That's the only way you're going to get better. Practice and practice. There's a saying that says it doesn't matter how many times a man falls down as long as he gets up. Now, obviously, we all want to get better. But the truth is, if you don't fall down or you don't make a mistake, or anyone who's told me they've never made a mistake means they probably haven't tried anything new. So kudos to you for trying something new. But today I'd like to talk about the rules of language. And let's start with something simple. In English, we have something called a noun. As you know, nouns are a person, place, or thing. So let's say a person is Maria Gonzalez. That's a person. And let's say a place is the hospital. And let's say a thing is a car. Okay? Person, place, or thing. So when we are speaking about Maria Gonzalez in English, we say Maria Gonzalez or Ms. Gonzalez or Mrs. Gonzalez or however she refers to herself. We say the hospital, we're going to the hospital, we say the hospital, and there is nothing with that. That's it. And you say the car, you just refer to the car that way. In Spanish, one of the things English or Spanish learners have to understand that in Spanish, person, place, or thing are assigned a gender. And the gender is either masculine or feminine. So if I'm talking about Maria Gonzalez and I want to say Mrs. Gonzalez or Ms. Gonzalez, I would have to know that I'm using the feminine term, and I would have to say La Señora Gonzalez. In English, we don't say the Mrs. Gonzalez, but in Spanish, you would say La Señora Gonzalez. Hospital. I would have to know that hospital has been assigned the masculine gender. So, el hospital. In English, I just say the hospital. So I would have to know that that place, el hospital, is ascribed or given a masculine gender. As the same way with the car. Coche, el coche, el coche. So that is one of the first things that Spanish language learners, especially if your primary language is English and your target language is Spanish, you have to get used to understanding that every noun has a gender to it. And in order to complete your sentences, your noun, your indefinite article, which is the el or the la, which is equivalent to the, they all have to match. So I wouldn't say el señora González. I would have to say la señora González. I wouldn't say la hospital. I would have to say el hospital. I wouldn't say la coche. I would say el coche. And that means the other things that go along with it would also have to match. So that is the first thing in understanding the rules of languages, the rules of language for nouns and pronouns. We will then come back on the next video and we will talk about verbs, the differences. So I really want to kind of get that. When people are learning a language, Spanish, for the first time, a lot of people start with verbs and conjugating verbs, and that's fine. You start where you start. But when you get to your nouns, you have to understand the breakdown, how it's broken down, and the difference between learning that and learning English, or how we speak in English. Okay? So with that being said, it's a short video. That's only 6 minutes, but that's just the start of the rules of language. And if you want to go in depth a little bit more, you can turn to page 12, where I talk about understanding Spanish grammar. It's very, remember the book, the channel, it's very basic, but it would give you a brief understanding of Spanish. So with that being said, as always, gracias por venir, and I'll see you in the next video. Adios.